If you had a retriever puppy or a hunting dog puppy, most people have a training dummy. Rubber, canvas, maybe it's a duck look-alike or a pheasant look-alike, and you throw it for the dog to retrieve, right? All I want you to think about is this is just a training dummy. That's all it is. So if you took this and gave it a couple tosses, your dog might go, well, every time I've seen you throw something, I'm supposed to go pick it up. It's exactly the same. So if I'm starting off with a new dog, what I would do, and especially if you're going to start with a puppy, I wouldn't use a big antler, it'd be too big. I'd take something smaller, much smaller, and I just make a little game of it. Can be done in the house, can be done in the backyard. Just some short little tosses and getting him pick it up. So think of this as your training dummy, all right? So, and you can see when I pick this up, his tail's starting to wag. He likes to retrieve. He knows he's going to get a chance to retrieve. Now, I won't throw it in here. I don't want him to race off after it, but if I was playing retrieve, I'd give it a little toss. Good boy. Come on, rookie. And if it was a puppy or a beginner, I just make it lots of fun. What is it? You see that enthusiasm? Now, he just likes to retrieve. This isn't like a bird that smells good, feels good, it tries to fly, it tries to get away. This is something that is just a retrieve object. Could be a pop can, but he wants to retrieve. So that is the #1 key. Make this a game, make it so your dog wants to pick it up. That's all we're going to have to do. Okay, that's all for now. Now, that's kind of step one. And the neat part about this shed hunting is different than bird training. You don't have to have 150 acres to start doing this, where you're going to shoot a gun, you got to have birds, you got to have all of this equipment. A lot of this can be done in your backyard to start with. As a matter of fact, it can be done in your house. What I'll do with the dogs, especially a puppy, now we need to get them to start searching, right? They got to go out and start looking for it. So let's say we'll do two scenarios. Let's say if you have your dog in the house, you can take that little antler that the dog likes, and let's say we're in the kitchen, and I have him sitting, and I might just go, here's the living room right here, and I let him watch me, and I just go in the living room, and it's right around the corner. I have the antler sitting in the wide open. Now if this is the backyard, you do the same thing. Now I've got to tell him, I'm going to tell him what we're doing. And I've got to give that object a name. All right? So if I have a bird dog, I'm not going to say find the bird, am I? Because he's going, yeah, okay, yeah, there's an antler there, but that bird's got to be here. I want to give that a name. For me, I'm just going to call it a bone. So find a bone. If you want to say find the antler, whatever it is, don't make it sound like a bird command if you're a bird hunter. So every time I do this little drill, I'm going to start adding them. Find the bone, find the bone. And he turns the corner in the kitchen, and right in the middle of the living room, he's sitting there. Good boy. Good boy. Good job. All right. So it's kind of the beginning stages. Now what I would do, I'd gradually take, and now it's not in the middle of the living room when the dog goes out. Now maybe it's just over by the couch. All right, if you're in the backyard, maybe it's not in the wide open in the backyard. Maybe I've moved it over a little bit so when they go out there, they have to look. Okay, find that bone. Find the bone. There it is. And so what you're doing is you're developing a little bit of the hunt and search. Good boy. Good job. All right. So you go, oh, okay, I got a shed dog now. I can go, he can find it in the bathroom, in the living room, down the hall. Wow. You got a little work ahead of you yet. But what we've done is we've started teaching that dog a little bit of the search process. Now you can get to the point where you start playing this game, you start hiding this around the house, and your dog is going to, if they have a little bit of search in them, they're going to just dig this. They're going to go like, oh my God, he's hiding that thing. Where am I going to, I got to go find it. But you're developing the hunt and search. So, if you don't have your dog inside, you're not going to do it indoors, you could do it in the garage. Controlled environment, something like that. But we got to move outside. So, training aids are going to be really important. And as a professional dog trainer, we want these steps to go as fast as possible, but not so fast that the dog doesn't understand what we're doing. So, and I'm going to use training aids to speed the hunt process up. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take silhouettes like this. You go, wow, that's a big antler. I'd love to find them like that. These are silhouettes, and all I want to do is I want to imprint this shape on the dog. So when he sees this, he knows that there's going to be something there. So what I'll do is I'll go in the backyard, wide open backyard, and I'm going to put this down. And he can be sitting right there on the patio or wherever you're going to be. I'm going to set that down, and I'm always going to put that antler right in front of it, okay? So picture this. The dog wants the antler to begin with, right? He's thinking this is a fun game. If I had that antler sitting right by an ATM machine, and every time you ran over to it, it started spitting out $100 bills, pretty soon if you saw that shape, you'd go, okay, I know there's money over there, if that's what motivates you. So you're going to imprint on that something positive. So that's step one. All we want to do is get him to recognize that. Ready? Find a bone. And the whole idea with this, good boy, come, is making sure that your dog here is successful every time. We don't want to test them to the point where they fail and can't find the object that you've set out, because all of a sudden your dog goes, I looked and I can't find it, and what else is there to do? Especially a puppy, because their attention span is about like this. So now what I'm going to do, step two would be, I'm not going to have that in the middle of the backyard. Now I'm maybe going to take it, I'm going to put it over by the shrubs. Okay? And here's the deal. I'm not going to have the dog out watching me now. The dog would go in the house or the garage, and I'm going to set that out. And I'm going to have my silhouette, and I'm going to always have my antler right by it. Rookie, come here. So let's say I'm coming out of the garage, and now he's used to seeing that thing in the middle of the room, or in the middle of the yard, right? So he's coming out, and he's going, where is it? And in your yard, that antler won't stick out that much, but he sees that object, what's he going to do? He's going, it's right there. Find the bone. Okay, find the bone. Now, so far, does all of this seem pretty simple? Drop. That's the key. Place. And that's the way it needs to be. So it's really not that tough. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that and I'm going to start moving it around all different parts of the yard. So when that dog comes out, right now he's using his eyes. He's looking around and he finally finds it, right? Okay. So that's step one. So the biggest thing we're doing now is we're getting the dog to move away from it. And most people think every hunting dog, when you tell them to hunt them up, they're just going to go out and just start searching. Especially these retrievers, if you just started off by saying hunt them up, they're going to go, what? They'd have nothing to correlate it with. It's something that's learned over a period of time. So when I go through these exercises, then I know my dog's in a position to understand. All right, the next step is we have to, and I want to explain what our dog is actually smelling. Now that's visual, right? He saw that antler. But the big advantage of having one of these dogs out shed hunting is he's going to find shed antlers that you can't find because he's going to use his nose. Now he'll use his eyes as well, and he's going to cover, get this, he's going to cover 15 times the ground that you cover. So it's like you've got an animal out there working, he's got his eyesight and he's got his nose. How do we get that nose going? I'm going to tell you what they're smelling. When these antlers drop off the head of that deer, normally in our upper region here, maybe a little December, but definitely January, February, sometimes as late as March, the scent, and if you look at a freshly cast shed antler, when it falls off, there's going to be like a little waxy ring here, maybe a little blood, maybe a little hair. That's where the majority of the scent is coming from, right there. Now that's not much. That's pretty minute. So what we're going to do, I'm going to take, and this is called rack wax, and this scent actually mimics that smell. okay? And if you've trained a bird dog or something, you go, okay, we put scent on our dummy. Same thing. But what I'm gonna do is I want that dog to imprint on this smell just like I wanted him to imprint on that silhouette. So I'm not gonna put just a little dab here. I'm gonna take and I'm gonna rub this all over that antler. I'm gonna just really get it smelling. Because I want that smell to be there and I want him to understand what it's all about. Now, I'm gonna go in the backyard. I'm not gonna use my silhouette. And I'm gonna just start putting this antler out in different spots, not too tough. Find the bone. When he's going out looking for that big silhouette, he goes, God, that silhouette's around here somewhere. So he starts looking. But all of a sudden, because you put this scent on here, and I want to tell you, you should do this early on when you first start throwing the antler. He gets that smell and he goes, okay, I know what that is. Goes in and picks it up. So what's he doing? He's using the nose now. So now you get to the point where you can hide that antler anywhere in the backyard. You can increase it, make it a little tougher. You let him out, and he's going to go check all of the spots where you'd put antlers out before. Now here's the key. If a dog's using his nose, it won't do him any good. It won't do him any good unless he's downwind of the antler. Okay? Deer hunters understand this pretty good, because if you're a bow hunter especially, you can't have the deer downwind of you. You got to be downwind of the deer. A dog can go this far on the wrong side of the wind and not smell it. They can go this far on the wrong side of the wind on a bird that's warm, lots of scent, lots of smell, never smell it. So you got to be conscious of that now as you put things out in the yard. Which way is that breeze blowing today? So I want to kind of start putting that where I know that the dog is going to have to come downwind of it. And that's your job to know that early on, because once again, you need to make your dog successful. If he's not, all of a sudden it's not a fun game. So scent, using a scent is really important. I like using a wax base because it stays on, it won't wash off. I don't have to keep reapplying. It's just something I like. It's just going to stay on the antler a little bit more. So how do we take this now? And you go like, okay, we're good in the backyard. Now it's time to go shed hunt. Not really, unless you're going to shed hunt in your backyard. Because when you change spots, and say like you went out to the woods and you said, find the bone, the dog would go, well, I'm not in the backyard, I don't know what to do. So now we have to take this game and we got to get it out where the dog is in unfamiliar territory. But we don't want to just test it. So what I'll do is I'll take my silhouettes again, and I'm going to find like a football field, maybe a soccer field, something like that, wide open, right? Wide open. And I didn't say I'm going to find a woods or I'm going to find a field with 3 feet of grass. I want a big wide open area so the dog has good visual. And I'm going to have at least 3 of my silhouettes. I'm going to put one out up here about 35 yards from me, put an antler by it. And I'm going to go 45-degree angle, and I'm going to go up about another 40 yards, put another silhouette, and then I'm going to go up 45 degrees from there and put another one. So I get the dog out. Now this is before the dog gets out of the truck. Get him out. He's where are we? And I would always go to this area first and just run the dog, get him used to that area, take him for a walk there. So he's familiar with it. When he gets out, he's kind of looking around. All of a sudden, what does he see? And I'm using the biggest one first. He locks in. I go, are you kidding me? They're out here too? I go, yeah, find the bone. As he's going out to get that first one, he'll get into it like a laser. As he's coming back, I'm going to start walking towards the next one. All right, and then he starts going. All of a sudden, he picks that one up in his sight. Off he goes. You with me so far? He's getting that one. I'm walking towards the next one. So here's the pattern I've got. He's going out, out, and out. He's already starting to kind of zigzag. And you go, okay, that's good. But you're still not going to be quite ready to shed hunting yet. Now I'm going to take that same drill and I'm going to do the same thing with silhouettes 2 or 3 days. And if your dog is really zeroed in on it, put those silhouettes in the exact same spot every day. If you zeroed in on it, then what I'm going to do, I'm going to come back and in the exact same spot I had those silhouette. I'm going to pull them out of there. I'm just going to leave antlers there. Okay? If you want to put them in the same spot, your dog has got confidence that he's going to go to that spot and find something. And the grass is only like this, so it's not like they're really hidden. So he doesn't have that big. Now those silhouettes, these silhouettes that we sell, this one's on a stand, but they're on stakes. They come with stakes, so that sits up nice and high, so your dog really sees it. Now he's not going to see that, but what he's going on memory that, okay, I'm with it. I know where we're at. Yesterday there was one there, so there was one there the day before. See where I'm going? Now he runs out there, he finds it. We're headed for the next one. He finds it. Running to the next one. The most important thing about this whole thing is, what's he doing? He's getting away from it. He's working away. And I can't stress that enough, because especially these retrievers, you're going to be stumbling all over them if you don't go through these steps. So you've got him to the point where he's going out, he's working, building some confidence up. Next step, and we're always building from confidence, I'm going to find myself a field with grass about 6 inches high. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix it up a little bit. I'm going to take and I'm going to come back in with one more session. I'm going to put the silhouettes back out there. Why would you do that, you know, after you pulled them? Because now what I'm going to do is I'm not going to put that antler right in front of the silhouette. I'm going to move it off about 6 feet. Okay, so here's what's going to happen. Dog's going to come running in there. He's going, it's got to be right. It's not here. But I've made sure that when he gets to that thing, the wind's blowing to him. He picks up that smell. You with me? Uses his nose, goes over and picks it up. I'll do one session of that. If the dog does well, I start pulling those silhouettes, and now I'll move that antler around that area a little bit, but not pinpoint it right where it was. So now he knows there's something out there, but he's going to have to use his nose to work it. Everybody kind of clear on that? One other thing that we're going to do is I'm always going to use my training props to help me out. I can take this and I can take those props into the woods, and I can let the dog be visual. You're going to find that the more you shed hunt, your dog's going to find 50 to 60% of those sheds with his eyes. So why wouldn't you, use some of these visual cues to go with it? I'm going into the woods. I'm starting to plan them. I'll use my silhouettes and pull my silhouettes out. Now, when you start pulling your silhouettes out, and I was just talking 3 dummies, there are 3 antlers, right? You're going to get to the point where you're going to have like a half a dozen or maybe even a dozen planted. This has happened to me so many times before I kind of figured this out. You go in and you start planting 6, and you get the dog out and go, let's see. Okay. Was it there? Yeah, I don't know. And then the more you put out, now you're supposed to be training the dog, and you're doing this, right? And you're not moving forward. And the dog's going like, well, what are we doing? I can't remember where I put him. This will be your friend. You need some surveyor tape. And I'm going to take this, and where I put my antlers, I'm going to put this right on a limb, or I'm going to put it right on a weed. So when you come through there, you're going to know where they're at. Okay, that's just going to save you. And if you don't take some of these steps, all of a sudden you were moving forward, now you're moving backwards. One other thing, did you notice that rope on there? That has nothing to do with something I can throw with like I would a training dog. When you have a dozen antlers that you're training with, and you're trying to carry them like this while you're trying to work your dog, though that is primarily so you can handle a lot of training antlers while you're walking. That orange, that's there for a reason. It also helps you, if you're hunting and you're looking and you need to have that little extra visual, and you can see your dog's color blind, it can't see orange. You can't see that orange surveyor tape either. It comes off as gray. So rack ropes, you should have them, because you're going to be doing multiple antlers. And everything that we do makes a difference. One other thing for dogs that are cross-trained is, you go, how do they know the difference between hunting a bird and hunting an antler? If you want to make it even a little clearer to your dog, now bird dog hunters have used these for years. Now if you hunt birds and you have a bell on your dog, this isn't going to work. But if every time you work on a shed antler training situation and you let your dog wear this, it's just one other cue as he starts going. It's going to give him one other thing to tell him that we are hunting for shed antlers. And once again, it's just stuff that we pick up on and know that the dogs have figured that out. All right, you're feeling pretty good. You're going, man, I'm going to the woods. We're finding these shed antlers. We're ready to go. I'm going to give you one more step. And this is really, really important. You go, I can hide these things anywhere. I mean, he's like this. Well, that's good. But did you think about what he's really smelling? Well, yeah, we got that rack wax stuff on there. We're good to go. Here's a surprise. Your hand scent is all over this thing. His slobber is all over this thing. So this thing to his nose is like a neon sign out there. There's so much scent on this. Remember how little scent I told you there was? There's just a little bit. So in the final stage of the shed dog training, we've got to de-scent this stuff so it's as close to the real hunt as we're going to get. Here's what I'm going to do. Now I'm going to take, it's important, if you miss this step, you're going to get out there and you go, man, my dog isn't using his nose at all. Well, it's because it's gotten so difficult. I'm going to take 5-gallon bucket. I'm going to put a gallon of water in there. And I'm going to put some de-scenting powder in there. Okay. If you're a bow hunter especially, you know all about de-scenting your clothes. I got the powder in there, and what I'm going to do, I'll put my antlers in there. And you don't need these huge antlers. Get them small enough that you can fit them in there. Shake it up really good, and I'm going to get that de-scenting liquid all over them. But don't do this then. All right, we're ready to train. What did you just do? Well, you just put your hand scent back on this again, right? So you got to be really conscious about this. So after I've done that, I'm going to put on the gloves. Remember now, this is the latter stages of training. You're not going to have to do this every day in the early stages. Put on your gloves. Do is go down in here, then here. Now, we're just going to put that little bit of scent right here. That little bit, right? Keep going. All right. Now we're going to put our antlers out. Well, I got another surprise for you. Guess what else the dog's been smelling every time you put the antlers out? He's been tracking you to every one of your antlers. You go, that's why he put his nose to the ground and then ran right over to where they were. Sure, they learned to track you. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We got to defeat that. You're going to put on your rubber boots. Here you can use a little bit of your spray, your scent killer spray. Put them on. Now, when you do this for the first training session, you are going to be humbled. You're going, oh my God, we were doing so good. What happened to him? He doesn't know a thing. Oh, yeah, he does. But you've just changed this game. And he's going to have to adjust down to this different amount of scent. So knowing that when you start this drill off, don't make some of your toughest finds. Don't set them so hard. Set them a little easy again, but the key still is downwind. All right, and that's really important because when people miss this part of the training, they say, I trained all summer long, and then, winter came and he went by. I seen him go by 5 or 6 of these downwind. Well, why? Because we didn't change the game on it. So it's really, really important to do that. The neat part about this season is it doesn't conflict, if you're a bird hunter, it doesn't conflict with anything. This is like a March, April deal, maybe a little February. None of this training will do any good if you don't get an area where there's shed antlers. Do you no good at all. You're going to have the best dog in the world. And we've got some of the top dogs in the world competing tomorrow out here in one of our qualifying events. It won't do you any good if there's no shed antlers. So here's the key. You have to go where the antlers are. Wherever you see deer in January, February, or into March, that's where they're at. So where you hunted this fall, If those deer don't winter there, forget it. You are not going to find any antlers there. You might get lucky, find one. They're going to be in these wintering areas. It's just a fact of life. Wherever they are in those months, that's where you're going to find them. Who knows where they're at? If you live in an ag community, there's somebody who knows where they are. Oh, they're at Bob Johnson's. They're in his hay. They're driving him crazy. They're eating all of his alfalfa bales. And best yet, you can knock on the door and go, we'd like to, see if we can hunt some shed antlers on your place. And here's the deal. If you are smart enough, you're going to go, like, boy, they really puncture those, $1,000 tires that you got on your tractor on top of it. He goes, yeah, those dirty buggers. I'm having all kinds of problems with that. If you know somebody who flies a small plane, or to know someone who knows someone who knows someone, you go like, hey, you ever see any deer when you're flying around in the winter? Oh yeah, they stand out like a sore thumb. Whereabouts are they? Here. You know who else knows where they are? Your local conservation officer knows where they're at. He's heard the complaints. He's got the word. But don't go to him and say, yeah, I want to run in there and find those shed antlers. Those deer are there for a reason. Why are they there? They need that. There's probably food there, and there's good shelter for them so they can survive. So if you go up and tell him that, he's going, oh yeah, you want to go in there in January and February, kick them all out of there. It's not good for the deer, say. I want to go in end of April. Well, oh, okay, good. Because you're not going to cause trouble. So, but the key to this is you have to go to the spots where there's shed antlers. Another thing I'll do if I have a young dog, I go pre-scout an area that I think has got shed antlers in it. And you're going to look, you're going to see enough shed antlers. You're going, oh, yeah. The neat part, it's not like birds where you go, yeah, I seen that shed antler and flew away or it ran off when it saw me. It's going to be there when you come back. Okay? And one more rule. If you're out shed hunting and you see a shed, don't pick it up. You go, well, that's what we're doing. Your dog doesn't know that you saw it. Your job would be to go, okay, which way is the wind going? Get the dog working downwind of it and let him find it. Every one he finds, even if you just nudged him downwind and you don't want to go, there it is, because then he's relying on you. But if you just get him moving in that direction, he's going to start taking on his own.